this meeting is being video and audio recorded for future cable broadcasts. Please silence all cell phones for the duration of the meeting. Can I ask for a motion to open the meeting?
Second.
Mr. Hood?
Yes.
Mrs. Downing?
Yes.
Mrs. Gomes?
Yes.
Mr. Howcroft?
Yes.
Mrs. Padera?
Yes.
And we'll ask everybody to stand for the pledge of allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, so the first item is the consent agenda. Everything listed in the consent agenda was distributed in advance of this meeting. Does anyone have any requests for something to be removed from the consent agenda and discussed or voted on separately? Seeing no discussion, may I have a motion to approve and accept the items listed in the consent agenda, including the minutes from October 8th, 2024?
I'll make a motion. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Do we have anybody signed up? Seeing that, and we don't have any old business, so we'll jump into new business. I'll turn it over to Dr.
So the first thing on the agenda is we want to talk about the Math Olympiad program at the middle school. And I would ask Mrs. Sylvia, the principal, to come up and introduce whoever is with her tonight to present on the Math Olympiad.
Thank you, Dr. Bailey, Mr. Chair, members of the school committee. Is it good?
Yes.
I have Mr. Mers with me also. She is our person in charge of the Math Olympiad. I think they call it a PICO. So Mr. Mers is here. We also have a bunch of our students. But if you don't know anything about the Math Olympiad program, we can start off with that first. It is originated in New York, so we did pay a fee to be part of this program, and we will take competitions throughout the year. So this is not just an after-school event now. It is during the school day. It's one of the most influential and fun-filled math competition programs in the United States and throughout the world. More than 120,000 students from every state and 39 additional countries participate every year. We have 23 students participating, one 5th grade team of 12, one 6th grade team of 11. Mr. Mers is our academic coach, and she is our PICO, our person in charge of this Math Olympiad program. We chose students based on their high achievement on the Math MCAS and STAR assessment, and along with teacher recommendations. The 5th grade meet on Wednesdays during X block, and 6th grades meet on Tuesday during X block. Wednesdays. We meet on Tuesdays and Wednesdays during X block. You're welcome. You want to introduce the students?
So with us this evening, we'd like to, Dixon is here from our 5th grade team.
Come on, Dixon, come on up.
Brooke is here. Joshua is here. Matt is here. Sophia is here. And from our 6th grade team, we have Abigail here. And we have Lucas here. So great that they could join us.
Why don't you
You
come
know
up in
I
front of
need a
Mr.
picture.
Mers?
All right, yes,
yes.
we're gonna have a picture.
They're going to go in front of the podium.
Oh.
No, stay there. Mr. Mers is going to talk about what you all do.
We're going to talk about what we do. So here you can see, this is a snapshot of one of our practice sessions. You can see the students here in group. It's kind of half and half here, but we do sit around so that we're all facing each other. So here you can kind of see one of the pictures of us sharing strategies. We talk about the different problems as a group. And so that's kind of how we have that structured. As highlighted here, some of the program goals are to encourage enthusiasm for mathematics and also foster mathematical creativity. This is a program that helps to teach strategies for problem solving as well as develop mathematical flexibility. Here's another group shot of our team, one of our teams. Here is an example of a contest that was given in January of 2018. You can see the start of the contest here. The contests are actually 5 questions. So here you can see an example of just the front of one of the contests, but this is similar to what the students will be seeing when they take their first contest, which will be coming up next week. Here's a picture of our 6th grade team.
Yeah, stay there.
Yes.
So I just realized that you all have 30 minutes to complete those 5 questions.
Yes.
I have faith in all of you, I know you're gonna do it. And both teams have to take it at the same time?
They do. Yes.
And then, I think this chart is from online, all the grades get submitted by March 31st, 2025, but I would think that as soon as we're done, we are going to submit our grades. What day are we doing it on? Do we know yet?
Next week.
Next week, we're gonna finalize the date. And, this is aligned with achieving academic excellence for all students, prioritizing community partnerships that support the aligned goals of academic excellence, social emotional learning. Kiddos in front of me, ready for some math questions? Can you give me? You got anyone? Who can quiz Dixon right now? Go ahead, Lucas, go.
1 plus 1.
3. Can we try another one? Go ahead, you quiz Josh. A true question, what do you think?
65 times 23. Can I have some paper?
What, we need a pencil as well.
Dixon, same question.
Oh, Lucas has a pencil.
I'm solving it. See if I can beat
Right
it.
here. Josh, sorry, not, yeah, Lucas.
I already lost.
Repeat it again. What was it, Dixon?
65 times
65 twice 20.
23.
We know the answer. Do you know it? 1,495.
Wait, did you get 1,495? You beat them.
Are there any questions? From all of you?
I just would love to hear,
How did you?
yeah, well, how do you like being a part of this group? What motivated you to be a part of
Asking
this
all of you
group?
a question.
Math.
So if I could just interject here, oftentimes we talk about kids who need extra help and interventions. This is enrichment, right? And these students definitely have a math brain. They're our math superstars, they're model students, and we are very proud of you. Does anyone else want to share what it's like to be part of this group with Mrs. Demers?
Can I call on
I see people up there not shy.
Oh, no, we didn't tell them we were gonna ask them questions.
Yes.
I'll let you off the hook.
Okay. After their first competition, they'll come back.
Okay.
When do we get home?
How are you feeling about the competition? Confident? A little nervous?
Mix of both. Mix of both.
A mix, yeah, and that's normal. So keep doing what you're doing, you're meeting weekly. I have no doubt that you will excel and do well. So we're very proud of you. And I want to thank your adults at home for supporting you in this endeavor. And I want to thank Mrs. Demers for running this program for the Ford Middle School. It's nice to have this enrichment program in math, and we definitely need it, and we need the models. So
Yes.
good for you, congratulations.
Thank you all. Go home and study now.
Yay.
With the mic. Okay, thank you, my friends. Yes. All right. Okay, thank you. Oh,
Thank you, Mrs. Demers, and thank you, Mrs. Sylvia.
thank you.
Okay, does anybody else have any comments or questions? Okay, next on the agenda, you see B, C, D, E, all the way through F, G, H, and H. Those are all policies for the second read, and if the committee is ready, we would be be asking for votes tonight on each one of those. We had it on the agenda last month as the first read, and now this is the second read, and a vote to accept it as we're updating our policies.
Policy committee meeting on that?
So, I spoke with Dr. Bailey about this, of how, when a parents' policy would fit into this. And I believe that it would be something separate, so it wouldn't be added to any of these policies, is that
Right,
correct?
these are all discrimination policies. I'm sure that when Mr. Hood calls for the motion, he's going to name each one of them separately when we take a vote.
So my concern as a subcommittee person was I wanted to discuss the fact of parents' rights in regards to children maybe not feeling, if they're male, female, non-binary, what they want to be called, that the parents have the right to know about that. I know it's a big discussion in the state of Massachusetts, but I thought it was worth the conversation. I was concerned that with voting with these Title IX items here, that it would close the book on that, and that is not the case, so we can still discuss it in another subcommittee meeting, and if we feel that it is worth bringing to the full committee, then we'll do so. But other than that, Melissa and I vetted these items here, and we feel comfortable as is. We had a couple of little adjustments, but nothing major. So we're confident in these policies and how they fit our school district.
And you guys will come back as a
We will
separate
come-
issue?
Yeah.
Yes. It is a big conversation.
I just have one comment, just an agreement with, there was a note here about adding something about the social media on policy ACR. I think that was, you had added a comment.
I wrote something.
So does that mean that will be added to the policy?
That
No,
was,
I think it had to go through legal, and I don't think.
Got it.
Yeah.
I'm just saying I would support that. I think it's important to.
I do too, but
Have that in
we
there.
put it in legal.
We didn't change anything that was recommended through MASC at this time. If we want to do that, if you want to adopt what we have now, and if anything needs to be added, when we meet with the subcommittee meeting, we can certainly discuss that separately.
just because I know Mrs. Betancourt needed these policies in place as soon as possible. So I think we'll bring that added addition to the next subcommittee meeting that we're going to have very shortly, and then bring it back for the addition.
I think similar to this, County, I may have had a comment or two
Yeah.
in there as well,
Yeah,
so
it's back and forth.
personally would support voting on these tonight and then coming back and adjusting them.
Okay.
They're just little tweaks, I think.
Yeah, nothing major.
Mr. Howcroft, no further discussion? Okay.
Not yet, I was like, wow.
So could I ask for a motion to accept policy AC, which is the non-discrimination policy, including harassment and retaliation, as presented? Well, we're going to do it as presented, but we may modify subsequently.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Is there any, so the next policy is ACR, non-discrimination policy, including harassment and retaliation. Any discussion? No? Seeing none, can I ask for a motion to accept policy ACR as presented?
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Next policy is the ACA, non-discrimination on the basis of sex. Any discussion? Can I ask for a motion to accept policy ACA as presented?
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Next policy, ACAR, non-discrimination on the basis of sex under Title IX, including sex-based harassment. Any discussion? Seeing none, can I ask for a motion to accept policy ACAR as presented?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Next policy, ACAB. Any discussion? Seeing none, can I ask for a motion to accept policy ACAB as presented?
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Almost there. Next policy, ACGA, Civil Rights Grievance Procedure. Any discussion? Seeing none, can I ask for a motion to accept policy ACGA as presented?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Next policy, ACGB, Title IX, Sexual Discrimination Grievance Procedure. Any discussion? Seeing none, can I ask for a motion to accept policy ACGB as presented?
So,
Second.
All in favor?
aye.
Thank you. Next, I have New Bedford High School tuition agreement. It's just, I'm recommending to extend that agreement by a year. This would line us up with our current agreement with Fairhaven High School so that both agreements are due at the same time. And after discussion with some school committee members during a budget subcommittee meeting, we talked about having, you know, a rubric and some presentations next year from all interested high schools with what they have to offer. And I know, Mrs. Gomes, if you want to chime in here, please do.
So, because I'm chair of the regionalization committee, we all thought it would be a good idea to have the neighboring towns come to us with presentations based on academics, athletics, extracurricular activities, music, anything that they have to offer us, and do, like I said, small presentations, so we can just see what's out there and what's offered to our students prior to the actual negotiation of the tuition agreements, before we get to the money part of it. Does that seem reasonable? And that way we can, you know, see what they have to offer, and then, you know, vet that out, and then discuss the money part of it. And it will also coincide with the regionalization information as well, once we start moving with that.
I think the nice thing is our students have a choice in Acushnet. So, you know, they can go with what matches their interests and dreams, hopes and dreams. So tonight, I would be asking the committee to take a vote to extend the New Bedford High School contract by a year. It's already been vetted out with Andrew O'Leary, the superintendent of schools in New Bedford. He has no problem with it. No changes in the agreement. It's just an extension of a year.
Same cost for students.
Yes.
Ask for a motion.
So I'm going to ask for a motion to accept the New Bedford High School tuition agreement as written.
So move
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. And this next one is the food service department additional labor hours agreement. This is something that the committee voted on already, but the ATA came to us with a change, and the change is in red, and we agreed to it. We have no problem with it. We just wanted to be transparent with the committee that we did make a little change based on the meeting that we had with the ATA. So we have no problem with it. I would recommend the committee vote on this again with the new update.
So I'll ask for a motion to accept the additional labor hours for the food service department as written.
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
I'll abstain.
Thank you. And that is what I have for tonight. Thank you so much.
Okay. Are there any school committee member reports?
Do you want to?
Wait,
Oh, I don't want to talk about that. Yeah, the technology update. Patrick, how can I
We're moving
forget?
right along.
I'll make it quick. Good evening, everyone. We've got some great updates. Data update, our SIMS and EPIMS, that is our state reporting that we do every year. We were ahead of schedule. Thank you to Kathleen Bourne on this. As you know, we strive for quality data, and we've come a long way. We've updated our intercom system in 2 areas in the district. In both kitchens, we found that with the dishwasher and everything running, it was very hard to hear some of the intercom stuff that we need for our safety protocols. Those have been replaced, and we're happy to announce that they can now hear what's going on in there. Side note to that, we also have a plan to take care of any intercom changes in the future. We looked into building out, like I have my 10-year plan for the technology district. We have a plan for taking care of the intercom district as well. Families of Chromebook insurance, roughly 300 families have purchased insurance through our Worth app, which is an increase from last year. However, I always have to state, we highly recommend Chromebook insurance. Please get it, it'll save you. It really will. Professional development, we got the entire tech team to do some professional development, which is at MassQ. It was a great time for us, and we got to look at some cybersecurity, some Chromebook practices, and we even got to find some ways to save us some money in the future. So it was a great time all around. That's our tech update. Any questions?
Thanks, Ty. Great work.
Is our business manager involved? How could I not say that?
Good evening, Chairperson Hood and School Committee. I missed you guys last month. You too, Patrick. So I'm going to try to keep this brief, but there's some important information to cover. Fiscal 25 budget, I always say this, but moving along. Some as planned, some not so as planned, but from initial numbers, we're staying on budget, if you will. Some shifting, some savings from new positions, but some unbudgeted special education costs kind of offset those savings, but we're surviving right now. It's only November, so we're keeping a close eye on that. On October 22nd, we met with the Budget Subcommittee to discuss strategies for a successful FY26 budget. Now is the time where we start to build that. A memo went out to our leadership team on prepping their internal budgets and submitting those at a time frame somewhere in mid-December. And from there, we'll have one-to-one meetings with those department leaders to look, line by line through their budgets, listen to their needs, potential cuts, and kind of analyze from there. Discussion with town. First week of December is also when the Board of Select and the town administrator will be talking figures, so it times out perfectly. I gave you a little bit of an anticipated timeline on how I foresee things. March and April being the most important, where we have, the recommended superintendent's budget, but that'll also play into potential ballot voting in April for the town if we have to pursue any sort of funding for our capital project or energy management services project. So that's TBD. And then, the timeline for the Senate releasing their figures in May, and then governor's numbers in June play right along with our anticipated annual town meeting. So nothing new really there. Unfortunately, it's going to be another dismal year as far as I'm concerned. We're still going to be a minimum aid district. Nothing's really changed with student enrollment or our demographic or any of the other variables. And there's minimal growth in town revenues, which has already been communicated to us. So it's going to be another tight year where we're going to have to, be conscientious in our budgeting and fight for our true needs and cut out the rest of the fluff, if you will, which I think we've done a good job over the years past into it. One of the big fall-offs from the FY25 budget this year was the circuit breaker reimbursement. I think in 23, so FY23's circuit breaker is used in FY24, and FY24's circuit breaker is used in FY25. So in FY23 to 24, our circuit breaker almost cut in half. So we felt that repercussion in fiscal 25. We're seeing that figure is starting to trend to be our norm, and that's because we don't have the expensive out-of-district placements that we used to have, which means we're doing more in-house, but there's less reimbursement that comes with that. So that figure is actually anticipated to be pretty flat for FY25, and we're going to have to make do of that without dipping into our special ed stabilization, which we did this year just to offset initially. Any questions on the budget or process? On the facilities front, we received a draft investment grade audit from Train on October 4th. When I say draft, it's very much a draft. It's important for us to go over this internally with our teams, with school committee, before sharing it out. We don't want any misinformation or misguiding of any individuals or groups. So we're going to keep that internal until we can vet it and it becomes final. We're meeting tomorrow, November 13th, to discuss this topic at length with town personnel. That includes a board of select representative, a finance committee representative, hopefully the town administrator and some town accountant department personnel. Just to talk about the topic, the needs, the funding opportunities, what repercussions there will be to the town, if any, if it goes the way of a debt exclusion or any of the sorts. And this plays in line with Chairperson Hood's motion to table the warrants at fall town meeting so that we could gather information, get everyone more educated on the topic, on the needs, on the costs, and hopefully move this forward in the spring. Another big ticket item that we have been kind of chasing around is the water leak in the AES gym closet. It's been going on, you know, it was brought to our attention, I think, mainly last year, but we found documents showing that it's been going on for, you know, almost 20 years. So we had an engineering company come out and analyze that. They cut into the wall. They did some analysis. They found that the drip edge wasn't properly installed along with some other materials. I included that report attached for the team to see. And we're going to have a follow-up meeting with Gale Associates to see, you know, to ask questions, see what next steps are, see what a design would look like and what it costs to addressing that issue would be. But just moving along with addressing, you know, the critical needs of our buildings.
Just curious, when do you anticipate that meeting is going to happen?
So we just got that report last week. We reached out to start a meeting or start scheduling a meeting, and I haven't heard back on their availability just yet. But hopefully sooner than later. They're pretty responsive. Food service front, we just discussed the MOA. Again, that was just to address labor hours per DESI's formula. We recognized that we didn't have the labor hours necessary in our kitchen to meet the amount of meals that we were providing, so this should help. We're excited to make that change. And then you might have seen in community communication that the food service director launched a new online menu platform called Healthy Pro. If you haven't taken a look at it, it's actually a phenomenal product. Especially if you're dealing with allergies or diets or calorie counting, you can go in and kind of build your menu for your kids or select the choices, and it can tell you the nutritional value of all of these things combined for the full week. It's really educational. It'll benefit the parents that want to take advantage of it to make sure their kids aren't, you know, eating certain foods or consuming things that they don't want them to. And it took a lot of work for the food service director to implement this change, but it was necessary. The old product was going out of business, if you will, and this was the one that was selected to move forward with, and it's phenomenal. So kudos to Shelley Mello, our food service director. Other matters, just ongoing with everything that we deal with, I wanted to share with you guys just the different audits and reports that you're not always privy of. There's 6 on here. I left one off to make 7, but we have the DESI management decision letter, so they're looking at findings from our FY22 single audit. They're requesting more documentation and have selected us for fiscal monitoring review because of findings from, you know, previous years, and we're addressing that as we go. I think we've definitely improved controls since then. I think they're going to be happy with what they find. But that's ongoing. Our end of year report audits are ongoing for 22 and 23. We have an ESSA program monitoring desk-based review. Some of these are just reoccurring, so you're just rotating basis. It just happens that a lot of these are hitting all at once. So that's the program monitoring desk review. The National School Lunch Program admin review, National School Lunch procurement review, the MSBA school survey assessment is happening to assess our buildings and what they need or what needs we have. So a lot going on in the background that, you know, we don't just advertise, or most of our time can be consumed with while balancing, you know, budget, future negotiations, policies, all these subcommittees, so on and so forth, and just, you know, overall working together as a team to improve the district. So, and then another exciting update was the town has hired a town accountant, Mr. Ellis. I met him briefly at a little meet and greet, and it seems like there's a lot of potential there. I'm excited. trying to set up a meeting with him and the town administrator to sort of kick things off and figure out how to move forward with efficiencies. So I look forward to that. I did get wind that he's also part-time, so I hope that doesn't get in the way of things, but we're heading in the right direction.
Has that role always been part-time or recently been part-time?
So when I started 2 years ago, well, it's tough to say because I was a contracted town accountant. And then the assistant accountant got promoted and he was very much a full-time accountant. He left and then it was replaced with another contracted accountant who was only part-time, and now she has been replaced with this part-time in-house accountant, if you will. So is it enough? Time will tell. It all depends, I guess, on what the priorities are at the beginning and how we can front-load some of these things to streamline changes and build efficiencies within the school and the town.
Is the 23-24 budget officially closed with the town? Last year's budget, is that
No,
officially
so,
closed?
no.
It is not officially.
I'm not aware of everything that they're doing, but the last that I talked to them, the balance sheet still wasn't submitted to the state. So that means,
Is that
you know,
gonna cause a
E&D
problem
wasn't
for us?
certified. It won't necessarily cause a problem. I think what they do is they delay your payment on funding, so Chapter 70 or something of the sorts could be delayed to the town, but as long as they don't have a cash flow problem. Those are questions for the town department.
Thank you.
The 25 budget still isn't in this, so we're waiting on that, but again, I think they're moving in the right direction, and you know, they are including me in correspondence and emails and meetings, so I think it's just getting this new individual acclimated and setting up some time to figure things out and set the rules of the road.
Do you know if this person is privy to Munis?
Yes, it sounds like very much so. He had good experience from what I understand in the town of Bourne, but he sounded like he knew Munis, and he was surprised that, you know, we weren't necessarily up to speed on Munis through our departments, that he could get us there. Again, it's just collaboration, getting in the same room and figuring it out.
Thank you.
Any questions otherwise? All right, thank you.
So I apologize to both Patricks for almost jumping over you there, so apologies. Now I will ask if there are any school committee member reports.
I have the regionalization committee. I would like to change the official name because the Acushnet Public School Regionalization Committee just assumes that we are going to regionalize, and I don't want that being assumed by the town. We're just looking to see if it's feasible. So I'd like to change officially the name of the committee to the Acushnet Public School Regionalization Feasibility Committee. Or the APSRFC. APSRFC. Yes, so can I have a motion?
Yeah.
Can I please?
Yeah, so can we ask for a motion to change the name of the
Motion
regionalization
made.
committee, as Sarah just described?
So we have a first. I'll second it.
Just for fun, Sarah.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye. Very good. And then in addition, thank you for that, because again, I just want to be open and clarify what we're trying to do with this feasibility committee. In addition to that, I have verbal acceptances should be part of the committee by myself as chair, Sarah Gomes, Dr. Bailey, Mr. McIntyre, Melissa Cadero, Bob Hinckley as a selectman, Jamie Kelly as the town administrator, and then I'm hoping once Jamie leaves in June, the other, whoever that is, will also be part of this. Christine Bardo, who is PTO president, and I am still looking for 2 teachers that I have communication out to, and I'm hoping they accept, but if not, I will go back out because I really feel that teachers need to be a part of this. And then, once we get this committee officially together, I'm planning on our first meeting in January, early in the new year, and then I'll have a full schedule for the next 6 months. And regardless of me not running for the school committee for the next 3 years, I will still stay on as a community member, which is, it was part of the whole collaboration, that a community member be part of it. I'll be happy to do that.
Great.
And I will report back to the school committee every month, giving you updates.
Perfect.
And
Sounds
I
like a
will
great committee.
try not to skip over you when you make your
I won't let
presentation.
you.
Important work.
Anybody else?
Well, it's connected with this discussion. As we well know, question 2 passed, which removed the requirement, high school, passing, getting a diploma for the students. There is great talk, among the legislators and and of course the governor, they may very well start, implementing or recommending, going through the process, legislatively, and setting requirements, what a high school diploma, when we receive one, what they have had in their curriculum, and activities and coursework. I don't know how long this process is going to take, but if we're, talking about, either regionalization or, tuition, agreements, that may very well, we may very well want to look at to see if the school system that we're dealing with has already meeting those requirements that they are going to recommend. So I think that's, if they may very well, some may not, they may have to seek waivers, we don't know in that process. But we should be looking at that because it does affect future costs. If one, school system is already meeting those, those requirements, they may very well be a certain cost factor. But some who have not, or are not omitting, admitted some coursework, and they're going to have to bring in more staff in order to, meet that new benchmark, so to speak, that it would, cause them to raise their tuition even, in costs or negotiations. I'm sure you follow me. It's a very uncertain road, but we're looking at MCAS 2 now, and then the discussion on that. And it affects us even though we're not, affected, because of our grade levels. But it will affect it as far as, the quality and the cost factors of where we're headed on regionalization or tuition.
I have a question about that. So the high schools that we have currently in our area do have criteria on what our students need to pass in order to get a diploma, like 4 years of English, 1 year of math, 2 years of science. Do they all have requirements in addition to passing?
I believe they do, and passing the MCAS was one of them. I was on a meeting today with the state, and the acting commissioner said that he believes it's very much going to go back to local districts on what is needed to pass high school, the requirements. So as Mr. Howcroft was saying, I think it's really important that when we talk about high school choices next year, I think that's a very valid question. What are the requirements to get a high school diploma? But I think that law goes into effect, I believe, December 5th.
Part of the presentations, if they're having to make presentations.
We don't know what the MCAS 2 will look like yet, do we? As far as knowing how the legislature is going to act.
Yeah, I think it's too early to say. I think
Very early.
MCAS is still required in the different grade levels. So, and I think the important thing to realize is that MCAS tests the standards, the state standards, which is what the teachers teach. So, we in Acushnet are not planning on doing anything different because of question 2. It doesn't mean that MCAS is going away. It's just another measurement for our kids to, for us to measure their success.
So I think, we'll add that to part of our rubric of what the criteria is, either tuition or the regionalization.
she'll be here for all
I
the
believe
bases.
we're going to be discussing that in our next workshop, which is coming up soon.
Thank you. So, Paul, I think, Dr. Bailey, there was communication and information, right? District newsletter, AES and FMS newsletter, staff and family communications, and then the personnel report. So we are going to go to executive session. We're not coming back, correct?
Right.
Yeah. So, that being said, can I have a motion to adjourn tonight's meeting to go into executive session to discuss the deployment of security personnel or devices or strategies with respect thereto, safety and security of staff and students with no intent to return to open session?
Second.
So,
Further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
do we need roll call on that?